bottom two stats, I suppose, are probably the most alarming, certainly from my point of view. When we look at drugs-related deaths for 2008, in Scotland this is, 82% of occasions an ambulance was called, to say that something went wrong. But 81% of occasions by the time the ambulance got there, the person was dead. Okay? So there was a massive delay in phoning the ambulance in the first place, and this has resulted in somebody's death. Action could have been taken prior to the ambulance arriving that would have saved these lives. We didn't have a take-home naloxone program then. So say very common circumstances, and these are again well evidenced and very general across the globe actually. Most overdoses happen in a person's home or a friend's home. Generally there's a witness present. That witness might be a mum, might be a dad, might be a wife, a husband, might even be a child. But someone is there. Somebody sees this happen but doesn't know that's what it is that's happening. People are also unfamiliar with this idea that, hours pass between the consumption and administration of a substance and overdose death. Yeah. Of course, there are instances where people overdose very, very quickly, almost instantaneously. But it's very infrequent, very infrequent. And as I mentioned, older, experienced injectors are the group who we know are at greatest risk of overdose death. So, the Scottish response to this, seriously. Okay. The Scottish response to this has been to develop an overdose prevention and naloxone training package with one purpose only, and that's to save lives using first aid and basic life support. Just like the colleagues here in the Fire and Rescue Service, we've instructed people on actions to take to save lives, and just keep giving those kind of life-saving actions until ambulance arrives or some other trained individual arrives. I don't think that casualty will make it. I think that person's dead, but good on the guys that keep going. So we deliver all the overdose prevention stuff, some of the things that I mentioned there. We talk about naloxone, what it is, what it does, how you assemble, how you administer a kit. We talk about the basic life support package that's used alongside naloxone because it's only first aid. That's all it is. We're all comfortable with the idea of training people to use defibs. So what's the difference? It's a piece of first aid technology. That's all we're training people to use. And then crucially, the importance of continuing to phone an ambulance, reporting the use and getting a resupply. Nothing complicated in it. I won't bother with that, seeing as we've only a few minutes left. The reality is many people fail to appreciate how opiate-related overdoses kill. When a person uses opiates, has an effect in the pant region of the brain, the person's respiratory centres impacted upon, the person's breathing can become too slow, not enough oxygen around, indeed the heart can eventually stop, which of course leads to circulatory collapse. You folks will all be well aware of what naloxone is. It's a pure opioid antagonist, indicated for coma and respiratory depression, nothing else. An incredibly safe substance that can reverse the effects of opioid-related overdose if administered following that overdose within a short period of time. I don't want to bore everybody because you folks know how it works, but essentially what we try and teach people is, somebody uses opiates, they fit right into this receptor up there, the person gets the desired effect you see on the right, the euphoria, the sleepiness, the gouchiness, but they get these other side effects, these unwanted effects. When naloxone is injected intramuscularly into the outside of the thigh and a dose is given, 0.4 ml, travels up to the brain, goes to that receptor and simply knocks the opiate off and caps the receptor temporarily. So at that point the person's CNS functions will no longer be depressed, and a person who's dependent on opiates might start to feel some withdrawals. In fact, they probably will. But they'll be alive, which is crucial. Of course, naloxone's going to leave, and there's always a chance a person could resedate. Highly unlikely, but there's a chance, depending on a variety of different factors. But this is where an individual is again at significant risk. Because if they go away and use another opiate on top, then of course the likelihood of getting back into overdose is much greater. So the training package that we deliver has to emphasise some of these key points. This is not a new substance. You folks will be aware as well that naloxone has been around for a long time. Opioid antagonists began way back in 1915 there. And you can see that Allier Northkeen was put together in the 40s. And then we had The same substance used in the 50s for a methadone overdose. It's been around for a long time. It's hailed as the opioid antithesis in the 70s. Something's been long discussed. There was a warning kind of highlighted in the 70s about the dose that should be given. So you maybe heard me mention there about 0.4 ml. The pre-filled syringe that we supply is 5 doses. The last thing we want is a person to be overdosed with naloxone and experience a higher degree of withdrawal than they need to. So we only offer that 1 dose at a time. Then the chap who was obviously meant to be here to present, Professor Stride, who in 1992 asked the question, should naloxone be made available to IDUs? It's a great question, and I think an obvious answer from their point of view. But then we saw this great technology transfer. We saw this piece of life-saving first aid technology make its way into communities and be where overdoses happen. Overdoses aren't a problem if they happen in acute settings. If somebody's there to manage it, will use an Narcan. That's what they do. But getting this naloxone available in communities where overdoses happen makes all the difference. So we saw these pilot sites, and indeed in Scotland we had a few pilots, all saved lives. And probably one of the most recent documents I think I do need to make reference to is this one as well. The Commission on Narcotic Drugs is the central drug policy making body for the United Nations. They held a meeting, the Commission on Narcotic Drugs held a meeting in Vienna in March. And one of the topics was promoting measures to prevent drugs overdose, in particular opioid overdose. I need to allow you a wee second to read the statement that's up here. So as you'll see, at the highest level, it's understood and recognised that not only do countries have to have in place adequate overdose prevention strategies and policies, but they should be making naloxone available. No ifs, no buts, it should be made available to people who need drugs. For us, it's a bit of a challenge. We've put out a few thousand tips so far. We're doing really well. The population behaviour change takes time. You may remember Jimmy Savin? Remember the whole club click thing? Yeah. Seat belts started and fitted into cars in the 1960s. It became law to wear it in the 1980s. And we still have people who drive without wearing a seatbelt. Yeah. We know that seat belts don't prevent death as such. Or sorry, they don't prevent crashes, but they do prevent death. We know that we need to encourage individuals and communities to recognise what the purpose of providing naloxone is. It's not a mixed message. Okay? One of the things that we still have to deal with in Scotland is the stigma of supplying naloxone. This idea that if I give you naloxone in some way making it easier for you to continue to use. It's absolutely not the case. Just the same there, seatbelts don't prevent car crashes, but everybody has to use one. In fact, most of us will use them, hopefully. Naloxone doesn't prevent opiate-related overdoses. It's not its point, that's not what it's there for. We have to remind ourselves continually, this is only a first aid intervention. A very specific piece of first aid granted, but that's all it is. Its purpose is to reduce death. It's distributed widely across different parts of the world. I'm nearly finished, I promise. In most countries that supply naloxone report that between 10 and 20% of kits will be used in the first year that they're supplying. So if you're supplying 10,000 kits, to quote Gabram, a friend of ours who delivers in America, then you're looking at saving thousands of lives. Opiates feature really highly in your own drugs-related deaths, so you can see where naloxone might fit in. And in ours it's exactly the same. Heroin and opiates were found in 269 people's bodies out of 485, and methadone in 182. If we were able to make sure that every individual who had these opiates on board had someone round about with naloxone, these folks wouldn't have died. But we still have to do everything we can to make sure that people are well trained in overdose prevention. Because alcohol and benzos can equal coma and even death. Very interesting one, hence I'll keep going there. Some questions arise around who can use naloxone in the UK. Well, anyone can. Nice and simple. It's a prescription-only medication that anyone can use naloxone for the purposes of saving lives. This was an amendment in the 30th of June 2005. in your own fair country. On the 9th of August 2005, supply and administration of naloxone was extended to include these first responders. So the amendment was made there. It might be a simple kind of process to make a further amendment to allow supply to people who use drugs. In the UK, it's a POM, still exactly the same. Broadly speaking, it's a POM because at the moment it's only licensed for injection. So we should be aware of that. We supply under a thing called a patient group direction, which is nothing more than a legal device that allows nurses and pharmacists to supply particular medications to particular groups of people. Yeah. That allows us this very easy means to get naloxone into communities, and actually one of the stakeholders and keys to our success is community pharmacists. Because you're at the heart of communities, you develop relationships with your customers, your patients, your clients, whatever you choose to call them, and you have that ease, if you like, to not only identify people who could be potential at risk, but to engage them in an appropriate package of training that would make that supply. Naloxone in Ireland, who can get a supply? It's a good question. And hopefully soon there will be an answer. I'd be good fortune to present at a British-Irish Council meeting just maybe 3-4 months ago. And the drug policy contingent from Ireland seemed very interested, very keen to be talking about ways to look at getting naloxone out. Hopefully that will continue. In our country, we don't restrict supply of naloxone. We don't care if you're in treatment, not in treatment, known to services, not known to services, we don't care. If you present and you say, I could be a potential future risk because I have a history of opiate use or ongoing opiate use, you qualify for supply. Nice and simple. And why not? It's cheap. It's only a tenner. Maybe 11 quid. And we're working with Malloy to try and reduce that price, aren't we, William? So we don't really care. You know, if an individual's a potential future risk, let's get your supply. I'll just work through that. Currently where we are, we'd like to think we've got a degree of expertise, we've got strong cross-sector multidisciplinary groups, we've got strong stakeholder partnerships, we've done a huge amount of work. We've done what we can to try and ensure that people's anxieties and concerns are expressed. Because ultimately, if you think education is expensive, you should try it on us. So we deliver widely to a range of different groups and organisations. We've created loads of public awareness information and training materials, all widely distributed across the country. And you can see there we've even decided to engage the police to talk about their particular role. We deliver on-site, off-site, one-to-one group via community pharmacy, via statutory services, voluntary services. Everybody agrees that this is only first aid, all it is. And we're very fortunate now that we have a very wide range of different partners involved. Still lots more to be done. As I mentioned, we still have to challenge this stigma thing. Complicated picture, but we'll get there. And continue to do some of this other great work, particularly around working with Martindale so that we can get a licence to take home naloxone product that can sit in every pharmacy in the UK. And a GP could even prescribe a prescription pad. We're also going to greatly develop a peer trainer network. We have people who use drugs to deliver this training. The plan is to strengthen that. Some of the changes that we see with the bar so far are great improvements, and a different training resource pack that we've pulled together as well, just to make sure that the package of resources is adequate. I've put this in because probably one of the biggest developments of late that we've seen is looking at trying to make sure that all of this information is easily accessible on smartphones. And I'm absolutely delighted that the creator of that app, or the co-creators of that app, are sitting with us tonight. These guys have developed this overdose app, and it's available on Android, it's available on the iPhone platform as well. All of the information from the programme that we deliver in Scotland and the programme in Ireland is in there. So it's looking at new ways to try and engage both trainers, people who could deliver training, but drug users as well. And I would strongly advise anyone who's interested in things like naloxone to maybe have a wee look at Twitter, Facebook and other social media networks. Because the discussion on these places is continual. Whether it be the Irish Needle Exchange Forum, whether it be U-turn training, whether it be injecting advice, or whether it be ourselves, whole range of different people continually top you up with naloxone.